Now, Elon Musk put out an interesting tweet, which brings us to the conversation of energy security and what's happening right now with Russia, Ukraine and oil and gas. Elon Musk, a man who is a billionaire because of electric cars, says, hate to say it, but we need to increase oil and gas output immediately. Extraordinary times demand extraordinary measures. Boris Johnson, who of course hosted the COP26 event last year in Glasgow, demanding everyone up their ante, including down on fossil fuels. Guess what he's now saying after there is an absolute need to cut off Russia from the global oil supply as a way of funding its war in Ukraine?
We have to consider how we can all move away as fast as possible from dependence, reliance on Russian hydrocarbons, Russian oil and gas. And everybody's doing that. Everybody's on the same journey. Some countries will find it faster and easier than others. That's all. But we're going to do it. We're going to do it together.
So, Mark, how can Australia play a role in this? What can Australia do to make sure that we match what Russia is about to be denied to sell the rest of the world?
Well, maybe those characters there, Boris Johnson, every European leader, Elon Musk, all of them there cheering on renewables in the United States, maybe they need to be like Perrottet and say sorry, because this is an historic mistake. The whole European strategy was to go 100% renewable, and when you couldn't get to 100%, rely on Russian oil and gas to fill the gap. And they were closing down coal-fired power stations. They were closing down nuclear power stations in Germany. And now, of course, they can't reopen them fast enough in recognition of two realities. They've just had a wind drought and other problems in Europe, so that the renewables haven't been effective. And of course, with Putin's invasion of the Ukraine, they can't rely on his resources anymore. You know, there's some footage around, Paul, of Donald Trump berating the head of NATO, saying, listen, what's going on here? The United States, we fund NATO to the hilt, and you guys have just set up a gas deal and a gas pipeline with Putin. This is just a really stupid thing to do. And Trump, of course, was right in that remonstration with NATO, but all the European leaders should hang their heads in shame, because they've got this historically wrong. And the lesson for Australia, of course, is now is the worst possible time in history to go 100% renewable. There's international instability on the security front, issues about Russia, China, and on it goes. Australia's got to build up its own energy self-reliance and stop leaving our most valuable resources, gas, coal, and uranium, in the ground. Or worst of all, giving them to other nations to power up their systems and their manufacturing and denying our own country that opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, Corey, as Andrew Bolt pointed out in the last hour, as Matt Canavan talked about on this program before, a couple of nights ago, we've got a scenario where the world needs to be heated. One of the ways they're going to do that is with coal, yet Queensland government refuses to give, it's Adani 2.0, refuses to give approval to a coal mine. In New South Wales, of course, the courts turn around and say, no, you can't have new coal mines because it's not about the emissions here, it's about the emissions somewhere else. When will somebody break through Pollyanna land and go, oi, here's how it works? Unless there is what we abundantly have, guess what's going to happen? They go cold in they go cold in Europe, and they get rich in Russia.
Paul, people will wake up to this when there is a shortage of electricity and when prices go much, much higher than they are. And that's the breakthrough we need, quite frankly. The whole renewables, the net zero pursuit, the abandonment of fossil fuels has been an indulgence of a truly soggy society, a society that has had nothing serious to worry about. And so it's pursued these green dreams that even if you got to net zero by 2050, it would cost $150 trillion and would include, this is the Bank of America who says this, and would necessitate massive mining operations for rare earths, which would create more pollution than they would likely save. This is a folly. It is insane, and people have been calling it out for ages, but so many have been captured by the zeitgeist. It is literally, we're pushing against a piece of string. But they will wake up when they can't turn the lights on, when electricity is too much, when fuel, which I filled up with petrol today, Paul, it was $150 to fill my car with fuel today, and that's at $1.96 a litre for diesel. You wait till it gets to $2.20 or $2.30 or $2.40, and people will be whinging and complaining, as they should, because our governments right around the world have bowed to this green dream, and it is destroying us.